And these are your guys from Seaside. That's Bob Mathis leading the pack with that saxophone. And that is Max on the Paul Lloyd Warner Buzendorfer. And that is Paul on those drums. And that is Don on that bass. Nice job, guys. Appreciate that. They're terrific. And good morning, everyone. How you doing? How you feeling? Yeah? Well, I'll tell you what, you ready to feel greater and better and more wonderful is what we like to do is just cast that wonderful vibration of spirit and healing with the lighting of our candle. And we always have a practitioner, we say hold the consciousness, which means they sit in the prayer support center, being that vortex of that God emanating energy. That's their soul call and purpose this morning. And this morning it's Kathleen Lees, who is emeritus now, right? You've hit that ultimate status where they can never take it away from you. You don't have to get relicensed every 2 years, so congratulations on that. So we light that candle symbolic of honoring that the light is always available of spirit that can be lit, and it is. So, oh my goodness. So how you doing? Feeling well? Good, all right. Hey, I want to remind you, inside your Sunday program is this, where the board's getting together to do a planning session with a wonderful facilitator. And just asking if you have any ideas for Seaside. We're going to create a map to the next 3 years, 10 years, the future. Love for you to be part of that. So any input, fill that out. There is a podium back by the camera that you're welcome to put in there. And those of you at home, well, I know we have a wonderful online community. Send in your ideas. We could use some of your ideas to support our virtual outreach. So I'm encouraging you to go ahead and send that in. But in the meantime, what we know about Seaside is it's a thriving spiritual community, inspiring us to live our divinity. And with that, all our decisions move through that concept. You know, what we're about to do, does it support us in living our divinity? The classes, the workshop, the activities, what we offer our children, it is consistently going through, what is this working on supporting us living our divinity? So how are we doing so far? Yeah, you're reminded of that, huh? Okay, well, I'll tell you what, and part of it is loving one another. It continues to be a community where we love, we support. It's a place without judgment. It is a place that is welcoming. Our arms are open. And so I want to invite you to stand up, say hello to the person you're sitting next to this morning, and just share some of that love.
everybody. Let's all stay standing. We're going to do our congregational song, I'm Choosing Heaven Today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing, I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing, I'm choosing love today. Grace, I'm choosing grace today. I'm choosing grace today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing, I'm choosing grace today. Come on, Bob. Hey. I'm choosing joy today. I'm choosing joy today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing, I'm choosing joy today. Abundance. I choose abundance today. I choose abundance today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing, I choose abundance today. One more time. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing, I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing, I'm choosing heaven today.
Good choice. Very good. All right. Hey, looks like you got a playmate.
Hey.
You know, like Rebecca was missing at the first service. You got to do it all. Huh?
I know, it's
Yeah.
very
Where'd you come in from?
Orlando.
Orlando. That's an early flight out of Orlando, huh? 6 a.m. Well, that's not too bad. Well, I'm glad you made it back, and thank you for stepping in there. And also, our singer called 9 o'clock last night, couldn't do it, and so Daniela stepped in to be our guest artist as well. And just covering it all. Anyway, we are just multi-talented, supported by love, creativity. It is just a magnet of individuals on their spiritual path looking to just be willing to be vulnerable and bring out that aspect of self that hasn't quite come forth yet. And so I'm glad you're here. Yeah, this is a place where we get to grow up all over each other and come to discover the magnificence of our being. So hey, if you got your phone, feel free to take it out, check in, let me see your fingers going, telling your friends on Facebook or wherever they may be that where you're at, show pictures. We got two great singers going on here today, and might even have a message worth watching. So tell people we've got this great live streaming taking place. It is really worth sharing. You'd share a good restaurant with a friend, right? Yeah, 4 of you. Well, you're not going to be my friend. No, just kidding. I want to know where the good food is, and I want you to know we deliver the good spiritual food here. And you got to tell your friends that this is the place to be, to get filled with Spirit. But anyway, want to fill you in. Just got back from the National Convention. Once a year, religious scientists get together, the Centers of Spiritual Living. This week it was in Denver, Colorado. Got to deal with snow every day. And this right here, we elected a new spiritual leader in Reverend Dr. Edward Filion. I'm excited to say would be my first choice, was the one chosen to be the spiritual leader of religious science over the next 4 years. And so it's definitely worth sharing. And what's quite significant is there used to be two branches of religious science, which, we're all about unity. It didn't make sense, but we had to do the religious thing. But very unusual, these two branches got back together in, I think it was about 2012, and we have had the first spiritual leader that integrated the two branches together, and we've had the same guy. So what's really significant is this is the first step beyond that initial one that was in there, really the first one that has been elected, by the body after the initial time. So it will be fun to see how that goes. Edward's, I like to call him Sir Edward. He's from South Africa, has this great accent. And he just, people love to hear him speak. We'll get him in here again sometime, I'm sure. But I'm not going to keep carrying on. But what I want to do is pray. Well, I don't want to do the prayer. I want to listen to prayer. And we have a great prayer. Carolyn Holder, who's been around here from the early days, was actually treasurer on our board when we got this place and moving in. She brings a wonderful consciousness of love and prosperity, which is what this morning's message is about. Take us to that deeper place, Carolyn.
Good morning, Seaside. If you would please join with me as we move into the stillness. And what a joy it is to be here this morning, to open our hearts to that prosperous power of love that I know that flows in, through, and as each one of us, filling this sanctuary with its essence. For I feel, sense, and know that amazing presence, that unconditional love, that divine intelligence, that creative medium that is everywhere expressing. And I know as we just take a moment to be in the stillness, to open to our higher selves, we open to that inner wisdom, to that inner guidance system, that spiritual GPS that brings forth answers to our questions. And we hear the perfect solutions to our concerns. For I truly know that that is God in action. That is that magnificent light that brings us together on this beautiful Sunday morning as we have the opportunity to learn, to grow, to heal, and to serve this community. And I know it is through the Sunday messages, the Sunday services, the Wednesday services, our classes, our ministries, and our community outreach and events that we each are nourished, we're supported, we're guided, and inspired to live our dreams and to open our hearts to our desires and manifest all that we know that is our true essence and what we are truly here to do on this planet. And so it is from this place of a grateful heart for each one of you here, for your participation in this community, that I know that we go forth into this service filled with joy, filled with excitement for the wonderful music, for the inspiring message, and always for the healing words of prayer. For I truly know this time is divine, it is guided, and it is blessed.
Thank you for your beautiful song, Danielle. Max, thank you for your wonderful piano music. And Carolyn, thank you for your beautiful prayer. Good morning. My name is Brian Atkins. I've been a practitioner here at Seaside for 18 years. And I am now in the process of going through ministerial school. I will be finishing with that a year from June. And I will, thank you. Thank you. And I will be doing your reading today. But before I do that, if you are here for the first time today, please know you are very welcome here. We have a welcome packet, a gift for you, and you can pick those up at either the north end of the building or else the west end of the building. We have coupons and things like that to save you some money, so please make sure you avail yourself of that. So our theme today is Prospering Power of Love. And I've chosen for my message Elizabeth Gilbert's TED Talk, which is called Your Elusive Creative Genius. Now, what really moves me about this particular talk is that it shows her talking about the struggles that she's going through as she's trying to live and do the things that she loves doing in life. And I feel like I'm in a process of doing a lot of that myself, so that this message really resonated with me. But this talk is actually about her struggle from the fact that, those of you who may not know this, she wrote the book Eat, Pray, Love. And it hit the New York Times bestseller list and was on the New York Times bestseller list for 187 weeks. That's over 3 years. And she was in the #1 slot for 57 weeks, which is actually over a year. So she's pretty phenomenal. But in this case, she's looking at the fact that probably the best writing she's ever going to do is behind her. I mean, to do something greater than what she's done at this point would be a major feat. And so she's struggling with that. And she says, it's exceedingly likely that my greatest success is behind me. So what now? I prefer to keep doing this work that I love. And so the question becomes, how? In ancient Greece and ancient Rome, people did not happen to believe creativity came from human beings back then. People believed that creativity was this divine attendant spirit that came to human beings from some distant and unknowable source. So the ancient artists were protected from certain things, like if your work bombed, wasn't really your fault. It was that lame genius of yours. And she says, even I have had ideas come to me from a source that I honestly cannot identify. But I think the greatest example of this came with Tom Waits. One day he was driving along the freeway in Los Angeles, and he's speeding along. And all of a sudden he hears this little fragment of a melody that comes from his head, and inspiration often comes, elusive and tantalizing, and he wants it. It's gorgeous. And he longs for it, but he has no way to get it. He doesn't have a pen and paper. He doesn't have a tape recorder. So he starts to feel all of this anxiety rise up in him. I'm going to lose this thing. I'll be haunted by this song forever. I'm not good enough, and I can't do it. And instead of panicking, he stopped, looked up, and said, "Excuse me, can't you tell I'm driving? Does it look like I can write a song right now? If you really want to exist, come back at a more opportune moment when I can take care of you. Otherwise, go bother someone else's day." This idea saved me when I was in the middle of writing Eat, Pray, Love. And I fell into one of those sort of pits of despair that we all fall into when we're working on something and it's not coming. And you start to think, this is a disaster. This is going to be the worst book ever. Not simply, this is going to be a bad book. This is going to be the worst book ever. But then I remembered Tom talking on the open air, and I tried it. So I looked up for my manuscript, and I looked over in the corner, and I said aloud, "Listen, you thing. You and I both know that if this book is not brilliant, it's not entirely my fault. Because as you can see, I'm putting everything I've got into this. I can't give anymore. If this is going to be brilliant, you need to step forward and give it. But if you don't do that, you know what? I'm going to keep writing anyway because that's my job. And I just want to go on record as saying, I did my job today. And now please welcome, is it Rebecca or Danielle? Danielle.
Oh, thank you, Brian. All right, this is a song that a lot of us know, so if you'd like to sing along, I welcome you to do that today.
And this is Danielle Tucker. Woo! All right. Thank you. Spirit is in this place, which is perfect. Isn't that a great picture? That's Susan. She creates those images, and wow, that's just eye-catching, isn't it? With those eyes of love. Anyway, this morning's message is the prospering power of love. It's basically saying His Spirit is in this place. It is, it is when Spirit is in this place, the energy rises, things just feel good. There's an aliveness, a dynamic expression. Yes? Yes, okay. So as last week we were talking about God is love. And if you truly believe that God is love, then there's this prospering power that comes from knowing that presence is in the place, that is in your field of awareness, that is within your consciousness. As you begin to know that God is love and that is the truth of your being, then there is no longer the struggle trying to make things happen. What begins to happen is you are that outlet for that love to express. And with that, there is a rising of the tide. There is a greater expression of possibilities, and healing is going on. You're no longer trying to posture yourself so, hey, look at what I'm doing in this world. But rather, there is this natural expression. A charisma, if you would. From the religious aspect, charisma is there's a spirit, there's a vibrancy, there's an aliveness, an attractiveness, a vibrancy it's invisible, but the effects are real. That is what happens when you know that there is spirit in this place, that God is love, and that love is this prospering power. I'm not trying to make things happen, but rather you're allowing that spirit. The charisma is to be an expression of spirit. And I've had people say, when I say, hey, I got to let that out, they say, but Christian, I'm like the dullest crayon in the box. And it's like, really? Oh, that's sad. But, the thing, even the dull crayons can bring a lot of color to life. And so, what's important to recognize is that you're a crayon, that you're an expression, that you've got the color, that you've got the love, that you've got that spirit. No matter who you are or where you are, that is what you can choose to bring forth. And that's what raises the tide and brings the prosperity about. There's this young girl, Greta Thunberg. You may have seen her. You guys liked her, huh? Just a couple months ago, she was on the cover of Time magazine, named the Person of the Year at the age of 16. That's pretty good. She says the ability, the desire to fulfill something gives you the ability to fulfill anything. Got that? You've got this desire to fulfill something. All of a sudden, you've called forth a power. You begin to be an expression that you can begin to realize I can do anything. That I can step out there. That I am the power. That I have what it takes to be able to move forward. And that there is nothing that can stop me. And to be able to express this prosperity in your life is to allow your natural nature to come out. And I think like a Greta, there's a uniqueness, this charisma, this life force, this spirit. It's eccentric. It is unique. It is different. It is you. The challenge is when we start getting into judging it and saying, oh, it should look like this, or you should be like that, or that. And that's when things begin to constrict themselves. Love is free. When it's in the house, when it's in the space, the magic and the wonder happens. And spirit is not bound by our precedent or our thoughts. It knows how to do all things. And so we bring a spirit to whatever's going on. And the spirit doesn't know large or small. At least this is what Ernest Holmes tells us. At least this is what the mystics tell us, is God is everything. Yeah, God's everything. So it's everything. There's not a little bit and a lot. There is no large or small. And so when something is going on in our life or going on in the world, we begin to be that vortex, that place, the divine download, that we get to bring the awareness of love and spirit so things can prosper, so they can turn around, so they can make a shift to the greater possibility. And that includes all aspects. And so one of the things that's going on this planet is this coronavirus that's taking place. And there is like this growing fear that is beginning to show up and starting to make the headlines. And yes, it is something that needs to be dealt with, but what is imperative is that we go to spirit and recognize that the love of God in its prospering expression knows how to take care of what is going on, and it can go through these great warriors of those working on containment. But what we've got to know is that fear is not an option here. It is love that is going to bring the resolution. It is the love that is going to move through the individuals. There's this story, I guess, out of India, of a renunciate sitting underneath the tree outside Varanasi, a city in India, and a plague was coming by. And this renunciate sitting outside said to the plague, "Where are you going? What are you doing?" He said, "I'm going to the city. I'm going to take 100 lives." And sometime later, the plague was leaving the city, and renunciate said to it, "You lied. You said you were only going to take 100 lives, and you took 10,000. And it said, "I didn't lie. I only took 100 lives. Fear took the rest of them." We get to decide whether we're going to buy into the fear or I'm going to buy into God is love, and that love is present. If I have a faith in that kind of love, then it's going to show up right here in this moment, and that I'm being called when I see something like this going on. It is a call for love, not a call to fear. It is a call to love. You got that? When we see something going on, large or small, but there is no large or small, but if it looks big to me, it's a call for love, not to move to fear. And as I begin to answer that call, there is the emergence of the greater possibility beginning to be talked about, explored, believed in. That is that invisible effect, that invisible that begins to take effect. That is the faith that is unseen, but it can begin to show up in our lives. Ernest Holmes talked about that, where he said, if you get 1,000 people, to absolutely come into thinking rightly that we could change the world. Bible is a little small. I said you get a couple, 2 or more gathered together in my name, the healing can take place. Ernest tells us that we should be the most prayingest people on the planet because we know the power. And what we're told is it didn't come to stay, it came to pass. What I've got to know when I love is I'm not going to give my power away to the fear, but I've got to know if it's not good in my life, it came to pass. It came to keep moving, and I've got to know that is the truth here. Esther from the Bible, married the king, she was known for her fasting and prayer and got major results. And so I'm committed to fast from the fear and the worry and the anxiety around what the headlines are saying around a virus, and choose to align myself with those 2 or those 1,000 individuals that know that love of God is able to emerge right here in the midst, that there are many options that I don't even begin to know, and I am not going to be limited by the small thinking here. That is the healing power that we're working with. It's like this piano, 88 keys, 88 different options. Bosendorfer, we got a few extra keys. I think there's 4 extra on a Bosendorfer. But, it's a lot of options. And when you just get stuck playing chopsticks, dun, 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 dun. I don't even know how it goes anymore. That's why they don't let me sing also. It doesn't come out like I hear it. But There are so much more than just playing chopsticks on those keyboards. There is so much more to the possibilities of life when we're presented with something. If we could open up our mind and our awareness to be receptive to the greater options and not say, "Oh man, this is scary, I'm giving up." Yeah. There was this guy's in his 80s, tells the story of he was born with an olfactory dysfunction, which means he doesn't smell well. Actually, he wasn't able to smell anything. And with the lack of smell comes your inability to taste. So basically, left with 3 of the traditional 5 senses that are there. But when he was a kid, he worked on a farm, and when he was 20, went to a doctor, and the doctor said that we can do something about your ability to smell. It's a simple 2-procedure process. Come on in. We do this procedure, this operation, if you would, and you get your ability to smell back. And then 6 weeks later, you come back. We do another procedure, and it will be permanent. He said, "Count me in." So this little 20-year-old off the farm comes on in. He goes through the procedure, and he comes up, spends the night in the hospital. He has at least temporary ability to smell back, and he goes to the farm. He goes out near the barn. A skunk comes out and sprays him. So really, his first sense of the world is it stinks. The world stinks, and that is what he is holding on to. Is the world stinks? That he never went back to have the second procedure because the world stinks. He got caught up on just playing chopsticks when there's 88 different options in his life. He never got to experience the smell of the flowers or the taste of chocolate or the aroma of coffee in the morning with hot Cinnabon or whatever. It's like it's just had this experience. And what I want us to get is we have these experiences sometimes that take us to our knees and we back out. And then we take the cheap seats and we sit in judgment of other people that are playing there. You know, read the headlines, we buy into them, or we complain, or the Sunday after or Monday morning quarterbacking. Or it is getting back up, dusting yourself, and getting back in the game. Getting back in the arena. You know, go in, because when you're going for it, you're not going to win every time. I mean, you're always a winner on the spiritual side of things, but the results may not be like exactly how you wanted them. But are you going to keep going? Are you going to say, life stinks? That's it. I tried. Woe is me. Or am I going to say, you know, love. I'm going to allow God and His love to be that which raises the situation to a more prosperous experience. I've liked this quote whenever I've shared it, and so you get to hear it again. It comes from Franklin Roosevelt. He said, "It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the one who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring great." Yeah. It takes being vulnerable. Yeah. And vulnerability isn't about winning or losing. Vulnerability is about being courageous enough to get into that arena, particularly if you've had a bad experience prior to. And you want to say, life stinks. But it doesn't. You know, that experience didn't work out how you wanted. That's all that one means. You know, and if you truly believe that God is love, and that when you bring that love, there is a rising, a prospering, and expressing that is possible. That I'm going to be willing to dust myself off, that I came up to this challenge. And Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, he was considered one of the good ones, Stoic philosopher. He said that what gets in your way is what becomes your way. Think about that, because that's pretty good. What gets in your way is your way. This is what you've got to work on here. This is what you've got to deal with here. And so as you step in front of something, it's not as if some anxiety doesn't stir inside of you when you've got to deal with a virus that is taking over your thinking or something that's going on in the world. I've been reading Brene Brown's book, Dare to Lead, and she's big on the realization that, you know, you can have fear going on and be courageous. You know, that you can be afraid and take action. Just because one is not exclusive to the other. Simultaneously, you could have this energy stirring inside your being that could look like, I'm afraid to do this, and be courageous enough to do it anyway. You do not need to be stopped by that. You know, the vulnerability and is what allows us to step beyond. We don't have to win, and we don't have to, doesn't mean you're going to lose. It means that I'm willing to step into an arena that I cannot control the outcome. You want to create something new, you cannot control the outcome as much as you would like to before you say yes to this project. It doesn't work like that. It works like, you know what, I need to get going on this path and on this road. And I may go to bed at night thinking, oh gosh, I'm failing here, or I'm not working here, or what have you. But it doesn't mean I'm not brave. It doesn't mean I'm not worthy. It doesn't mean I'm not capable. What it means is it hasn't happened yet, and you got to enter into the cave, as Joseph Campbell talks about, that you've got to be willing to take what you got and apply it with what you have. Frederick Douglass was born a slave, escaped, sailed off on the boat up the river, lived in New York and Massachusetts, and was just known as a great orator. You know, spoke with President Lincoln at the beginning of the Civil War. Profound author. He said that for us to greatness consists of doing that thing by applying by proper application of the power for that which needs to be done. It's by doing that thing with the proper application of the power of that which needs to be done. That's how greatness. So I'm getting into that ring with what it is I know, with what it is I've got into that arena. I'm going to share what it is. I'm going to take on, the virus on the planet. What I know is to pray. What I am calling us to do is pray, unite in consciousness, know where there are 2 or more gathered or 1,000 individuals. What we can do is apply what it is we know. We go into the cave. We don't know where it's going to go, but what we know is our treasures in the cave. And what pulls us into that cave a lot of times is, I'm going to get the pot of gold. I'm getting the jewels and the goodies. But actually what we come to discover, the real treasure, is our strength, is our courage, is our conviction, is our sense of security, is our peace, is the recognition that God is love, is the rising of the tide of all aspects of our being, when I thought it was about this one particular thing that got me going down this yellow brick road. Yeah. Speaking of yellow brick roads, I sometimes think of Dorothy. Particularly since we did a whole series on Wizard of Oz once, filled with great metaphysical significance. But one of the things that just sticks in my mind is, at the end of the show, the movie, the triumphs and the difficulties, found new friends, conquered the Wicked Witch and all those things, and getting ready. And for the Scarecrow to get his brain, and the Tin Guy his heart, and the Lion his courage. And I was talking to Glenda, the Good Witch. He says, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. And I love what Glenda says. Dorothy, all you ever had to do was click your heel 3 times and say there's no place like home. I mean, I could have done this at any time. And you didn't tell, and why? Didn't you tell me this at the beginning of this journey? It's like, I could really get upset about this. Know how close I came to death in this process. But I love what she said. She said, but you would never have believed me. I would never. We have to go through that before we believe that, I can turn to God here. You got that? How often do we forget? We've got to go through our trials and our tribulations before I remember, oh yeah, could that be it? Could have gone to God at the beginning. Anytime I could have kicked my heels and said there's no place like home. But what has happened is my mind has been filled with the separation, the division, the space between God, between love. God is love, and it is in all people and all things. But all of a sudden, I'm beginning to say, this is more powerful. We're all equal. There's equality here. Our brothers and sisters around the planet are all part of this divine expression. As I begin to recognize that in one another, I begin to realize that, life is just too short to be filled with this anxiousness, this anxiety, and this fear. Why am I going to let myself get riled over a situation that what I can do is bring love to, which is an expression of God? And when I bring that expression of God's love to whatever it is I'm thinking about or involved with, things begin to shift and change for the better, or for the prospering, or the abundant or affluent flow, the greater flow of God made manifest. But I got to be willing to be vulnerable enough, because in that vulnerability is where we begin to discover where we haven't been, right? In that uncontrolled space that I'm trusting, I'm having courage, I'm stepping into it out of vulnerability. That is that is really the birthing of creativity. Something new is going to come forth. Have you ever been creative? You don't know how it's going to go. I got to show you stepping out here every Sunday morning. I don't really know. I mean, I'm trying to come on, guys. We've done this a few times, but it's you don't know. It is being vulnerable. It's being exposed, but it is in that vulnerability that the creativity and the newness and the greater possibilities. But I got to get rid of my judgment. Oh, this is bad. This stinks. I'm never going to make it. We sit there with a sense of judgment that this situation in the headlines is horrible, or what this person did is just nasty, and we get caught up. We've got to recognize that spirit is everywhere. And Marianne Williamson, she writes in her book, A Return to Love. And I just like it because she addressed this thing about judgment, whether it's a situation, whether it is a person, but whatever it is that we're giving our power away to. She writes, so how do we escape judgment? Largely through reinterpretation of what we're judging. Isn't that great? How do you get rid of judgment? You reinterpret it. You say, hey, this isn't working. The Course in Miracles describes the difference in a sin and an error. A sin would mean that we did something so bad that God's angry at us. But since we can't really do anything that changes our essential nature, which is God expressing, God has nothing to be angry at. Only love is real. Nothing else exists. A child of God cannot sin. Oh, we can make mistakes for sure. That's obvious. But God's attitudes towards error is the desire to heal. God, something's out. The desire is to heal because we ourselves are angry and punishing. We've concocted the idea of an angry, punishing God, but we're created in God's image, however, and not the other way around. As extensions of God, we ourselves are the spirit of compassion, and in our right minds, we don't seek to judge, but to heal. And we do this through forgiveness. But everything that goes on is either love or the call for love. So, what that forgiveness will do is it takes away the barrier between where I am and what I got caught up in judging. I forgive myself, the other, the situation, God, whatever. If I can choose to do that, I begin to open up to understand in a new kind of way, in a greater kind of way, in which Spirit is seeking to express here. And sometimes I need to go down that yellow brick road, or I need to go into that cave. I need to, that which is in my way, I need to step into that to discover my way and my strength. There's an African proverb that says, when you carry your own water, you learn the value of every drop. When you carry your water, every drop becomes really precious. When you allow yourself to be fully present to experience whatever goes on in the arena of life, and you get scarred and marred and dirty and bloody, as Roosevelt was talking, what matters is the one who's in there, not the one sitting on the side and say, hey, Christian, you should be doing this instead. I had to try this one. You make some mistakes, but you need to come back from that. And what love does is it allows us to get out of judgment. It allows us to honor whoever shows up in our life as part of the teacher, the participant in our experience. There was a business guy, and he just got caught up in the deal. It's taken him a couple years to put this significant project together. He was in the office one day, called his wife, and kind of barked out the orders. Hey, I got to go on this business trip real quick. I need you to pack for me. He put in my favorite blue suit. You got to remember this gray folder that's sitting on my desk. It's got everything in there, and just pack it up and send it over. I'm going to send a messenger to pick up my bag, and never said please, thank you, anything. Just it's like, and obviously got energy around that. But and so the messenger brings the bag, and he grabs the bag, he jumps in the taxi, heads to the airport, laptop, works on some final things. He gets into his hotel, opens up the bag, finds his blue suit, found some nice novelty socks his wife put in there, and says, you're the best salesman in the world on them. But he can't find the gray folder. He said, and then he found the blue folder inside a blue vellum folder, and there were some other pieces that were really important that he didn't think about, but she thought about, along with a note, and said, honey, you are the best salesman in the world, and you put the best deal together, and I love you, and Spirit works through you. Look forward to when you get home. And he just sat down on the bed and just hit him that he has given his life over for the last couple of years to this particular project that he put, it made him miss, he allowed his business to have him miss dinners and weekends, her birthday, their wedding anniversary, their weekly dates turned into every month, which turned into every quarter until they disappeared. Their trip to go see the Northern Lights got put on hold until there was time. He promised he would catch up with her all this lost time. And he sat there realizing that time with somebody when missed can never be caught up. You know, if that time you were going to be with somebody got missed, you can never go back there in that time and spend it. You can spend another time with somebody, but you can never make up for lost time. And what begins to be imperative is to say, where is my heart? What is it that matters the most to me? What is it that is most valued? Not what I say, because that's your critic on the side. When you're in the arena, is what's most important to you is your relationships and your friendship, or is it your possessions, or is it your work? Your actions speak. Those that are watching can very clearly see what lies to be most important to you. So in this time in our world, we get to see what matters most. We've got brothers and sisters who are in fear and hurting because of some virus that is going on. Am I thinking it's way out there that I don't have to do anything? Or what can I do? Can I choose to participate in fear? Do I think these people in my world are not me, but forgetting that my brothers and sisters are an extension of who I am in this life, that we are all in this together, we are all equal, that we all got our pains and our hurts and our fears when we're on the path or heading into that cave? When I choose to love, there begins to be the expression of Spirit showing up, and there is this uplifting, this affluent flow, this prospering expression of God that manifests across the board. It's no longer taking here, keeping this one away, or trying to divide up the pie. It is lighting the candle where everything lights up. And love is the key to make that happen. And we just let go of the divisions and recognize that everything is either love expressing or a call for greater love. I get my judgment out of it, and I love or recognize if this path isn't feeling good or the cave is a little scary. Doesn't mean I can't be afraid and courageous in expressing God or love here in this moment. It comes down to my choice and mine alone. And so our conference, one of the sessions ended this week with this video clip, a Lenny Kravitz song. It's kind of long, it's about 4 minutes, but I want to run it and just let us experience this. Our brothers are... Yeah. We're not here to judge. We're here to love. To unite and not to segregate. If we're going to work on healing and love upon this planet, we cannot say this one deserves and that one doesn't. Love will prosper us all. And so as we open the door to our heart, which can only be opened from the inside, what we'll come to discover is Spirit coming out and making a difference in this world. And as we unite in consciousness, in thought, whether it's 2 or 1,000, and know the presence of God, that which is unlike it cannot stay, but it too shall pass. And what will remain is the abundant expression of God as your life and mine. And so it is. God bless us. Welcome back to the stage, Danielle Tucker.
Thank you so much for your message today. It's great.
Deep in my soul.
And this is Danielle Tucker. That was a great song. Wow. That was beautiful. All right. Well, hey, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to unite together in the givingness and the sharing of our love and support. And as you give, it comes back. But that's not why you do it. You rather do it because it's an extension of your consciousness. It's a statement of who you are in your partnership with that which is infinite. And so I invite you to listen to your heart and move from that place and just know that what comes back is that abundant, expanding expression of good in the relevant ways within our life, because Spirit, transcends the boundaries. It shows up in those spots that we're looking for greater good. So with that, I'd like to invite our ushers to come forward as we take our gift from our heart and our soul and our spirit. And I want to say thank you to those who mail in their contributions and those who participate with the auto tie, that regular systematic support from your world into the wonderful unfoldment of the Seaside activities. And to you guys at home, we know you're out there watching, and your prayer requests come in. I'm asking for your ideas, for your vision for Seaside as we put together our strategic plan. And it's all of us coming together. It's not about segregating. It is about uniting. Love is what unites, and that's what lifts us all to that greater prospering level of peace and joy and sense of security and well-being. And so I shared this prayer of gratitude with the most generous of spiritual communities, knowing that this truly is a blessed moment where the fullness of Spirit is finding its expression, its avenues, its vehicles, its conduits, its channels of good. As it moves into our world, because we have continuously giving it space, what we find in this refreshing is this expanding kind of life force that moves into our experience in the ways that are perfect. It's with joy we take that which has blessed our world, and we share that, and we give that, which shares the love and unites and connects and expands the ever greater good, the family, and the love. So with joy we share that which has blessed our world, knowing it continues to touch everyone it comes in contact. So thank you, Father, Mother God, for this opportunity to get out of the seats and into the arena and begin to be a practicer of the spiritual principles, not just a professor of them. So with joy we give, and with joy we find ourselves replenished over and over. And so it is. Amen. Together, let us say this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully, I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. those are our guys from Seaside. How blessed we are. As I stand before this bounty, I can just feel and sense how blessed we are as a community of this kind of loving support, this good that flows through each and every one of us. For as we unite, all of us are uplifted in the prosperous expression of God's love. So with joy we have given and find the richness that comes from that givingness. And I know Seaside receives it in joy. It handles it in good stewardship, and it puts it back into that world to bring that joy and that love and that caring and that deep knowingness to all that comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this opportunity to be a wonderful participant in that ever-expanding good flow. And so it is. Amen. All right. This is Kathleen White. She is your new board secretary here at Seaside. And just joy. Also, you're going on that Make-A-Wish hike, aren't you? Have you been practicing?
We've been practicing.
Did you go out yesterday?
It rained out yesterday, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of, maybe not.
How many people do we have going on the hike?
We have at least, I think we have 12 that we know of and 2 more.
Wow, that's fabulous. And our fundraising going pretty good with that?
Really well.
Good.
That has been wonderfully generous. Thank you.
Oh, glad to hear that. So, well, thank you for representing us. It's a great foundation for sure. Danielle, thank you for stepping in such a big way, covering for our Rebecca as well as covering for our mystery guest. Could have shown up with that costume. Who's the mystery singer, right? So, but thank you from the stages of around town to here at Seaside. We're blessed for sure. And Rebecca, that you are able to get on a plane at the crack of dawn and crawl off to be here with us. We can just feel your love and support. So thank you for sharing that with us. And Brian, thank you for your, I was looking for the other Brian, but I see Reverend Dr. Brian sitting in the front seat. You know what? You're speaking next week. Do you remember that? Yeah, I was just checking in because, if you guys, I trust you probably all heard Brian, but if you haven't, he was in this town in Vista filling 3 services before I ever got here in 91. That means back in the 80s he's been preaching up here. And he's going to be here next Sunday morning, 9 and 11. You know what you're talking about yet? Passion. There you go. Yeah, this guy is a leprechaun for sure. He'll tell you, he actually came up from Ireland, right? That's it. That's crazy. Hey, Matthew, thanks for giving us sound today. Appreciate you. Marv, for giving us those visuals. Thank you. And film crew and editors behind that wall, thank you for sharing this with the world. We continuously are blessed by those that are part of our community in a virtual way. They've got a whole network going on. So, hey, I want to just remind you, give me some of your ideas. We're getting together and putting them down in beginning of March. So I'd love to hear some of your ideas for our strategic plan. The basket's back there by the sound booth and the film crew. Go ahead and do that. Also, Panache is coming. You've heard about Panache. He's got a new book out called You're Enough. And Oprah's a big fan of him on her Soul Sundays. Why don't you show us like 60 seconds?
This is what I'm so happy about, that you're going to raise your daughters to know that. Yeah. That your daughters will be raised to know that they are the Harry Potters of their generation.
That's right.
Yeah. But isn't that the gift that each parent can give their child?
Yes, they
is
can.
to know that that is where you come from?
Yeah. That's the greatest gift that you can give anybody.
Isn't it that all of us just want to be really seen, that I see you and that I know that your being here matters? Yeah.
And for me, the deepest frustration was that I would always see that in people, but they were not willing to see that in themselves. They were not willing to see that in themselves. People are most afraid of that magnificence. And so it's gently just reminding them constantly that that's who they are until finally they embrace it. And in that moment when they embrace it, it's like the marvel and wonder of life is fully revealed to them.
Yes, it's those wonderful words of Marianne Williamson that our deepest fear is that we are brilliant.
Yeah.
That's our deepest fear, is not letting that shine and come forth, right?
That's exactly right.
So he's coming here, and he is consultant to the A-list in our country right now, and his new book's coming out. It's not even out yet, or I'd be quoting from it. As soon as I get it, I'll start filling you in. But powerful presence. We'll get some more his contemporary look. Obviously, he was a little younger in those days, but he'll be on tour. And his goal was to have his book on Amazon #1. And the first week before it was even out, it just shot up as soon as it got pre-order going out. So good guy, for sure. Speaking of good ones, how's it going, everyone? Who wants to talk to me? Oh, well, we'll start here and work our way around.
Today we did this thing with your hand, and it's the 5-step prayer, and the 5-step prayer is I let go, I'm glad, I know, I am, and God is.
Whoa! Our foundation class could use that approach. Very good.
And we made paper airplanes, and we could say whatever we want on them.
Wow, and sail them off to Spirit. There you go. Did you want to say something? Nope. How about, I know you did. Your hand was up. Did you want to throw your plane? Well, let's see how far. No? Yep. Did you want, anybody else want to say something? You were the airplane champion, huh? Nice. So you guys should see the smile. It's ear to ear. So, yeah, look at this hand. Aren't you?
I love church.
You love church. Oh, my goodness. Woo! Well, my heart just got won over. By all of you, that's for sure. Anyway, let's say together our affirmation for our children, which is, we see you, we love you, and we support you in your magnificence. Yeah. And I saw our teen group standing back there a while ago. I see Karen standing back there. They're in Emerson having a good time. My son Trevor's been hanging out with them. This is the first time in 20 years he's decided to go on a regular basis. So there's some love going on in there. I'm excited about that. But anyway, I see Karen standing back there. What we're doing beginning of March is we are housing those that don't have roofs over their head in the North County. There's this interfaith rotational shelter that moves from center to center. And we don't actually physically have them here on our property anymore because we've run out of space. But we have the Bethlehem Lutheran Church around the corner that's housing them for us, and we're taking care of them that week of March 8th through March 15th. So I don't know, do we still have spots where we can use some volunteering, Karen? Wow, well, there you go. I can stop pitching this now. This is a good thing. So anyway, come on out Wednesday night. We've got the midweek service going on here. But what I want to do right now that's going on here is our prayer wall. The last Sunday of the month is our prayer Sunday. And the way that works is all of our spiritual practitioners are going to line up. Prayers will come from the ministers and practitioners to you. You come on up when I'm done praying and Rebecca's done singing. Come on up and ask for prayer. So I want to invite any of our religious science practitioners and ministers to stand, or ministers in training to stand up here. And I just invite all of us to feel this love that is coming. Remember, it is about uniting, not segregating. And so as we come together in this prayer consciousness, feel that presence, feel that life force, feel that magic that came from seeing the smile in the child's face, of knowing the infinite possibilities, and recognize that it is not about posturing to feel the presence of God, but feel that divine touch, that wonderful download in this moment. For it is about recognizing and feeling and sensing and knowing you are part of that which is infinite. You're part of the infinite. You got that? You're part of the infinite. And all that which we recognize in spirit, feel it touch you now. For it's in feeling this, experiencing this, that things begin to shift. That one becomes available for the healing, for the wholeness to emerge, the wonder and the grace of the divine to have its way. Be available for that wonderful touch of God. And know that I come to feel and sense that which I am, which is Spirit expressing. And it is in this moment, each of us becomes the expressor of the divine, a place where the love flows and just transforms. It transcends, it dissolves, it eliminates that which does not belong. For there is a refreshing and a revitalizing going on. For it is in this moment that I come to feel and sense that wonder and know that whatever may be going on in my human experience, whatever path I am walking along, whether it is the yellow brick road or being called into a cave, I'm willing to go into that arena, honoring that there may be trepidation and anxiety, but recognizing life is too short to be stopped by that I can feel that energy inside swirling and know that I am courageous, that I am brave, that it is in the vulnerability that I come to the very edge of that which is yet to be. I open up to the creative expression of the divine and become that place of the newness, the wholeness, the vitality, the vibrancy, that I am willing to use all the keys on the piano or that are available to me. I recognize that I am a part of nature, just as my body works without me telling it needs to breathe or blood to pump or heart to move. There is a natural sense of nature that moves through this body of ours. I am part of that, and this body is the temple of God, and it knows how to heal, to make right, to revitalize. So if there's anyone in this room today that is experiencing anything less than the comfort and the wholeness in their physical body, know that it comes back into that perfect alignment, that perfect weight, that perfect expression. For the body knows. And so I get myself out of the way and allow that love to emerge and to show up as perfect body here and now. For that which guides the universe absolutely knows how to take care of the physical body, and the healing is going on now. You feel that? Do you feel that? Yeah, claim that. It's there. It's spirit. It's available here and now. And the path to that realization is transforming, it's enriching, it's prospering, it's uplifting. And know that as we walk through this life, that all that is ever needed in our life is there. For life is enough to support you in all your heart's desires. That affluent flow, that abundant flow, that cash flow moves into our life in those most perfect and appropriate ways to support the creative, expanding expression of greater good. And in this greater good, there is love within relationship. There is love in this deepening understanding in this dance that we do with others in our life. For the blessings and the graces upon this moment. For every prayer request that has been brought forth to our prayer ministry or even been asked in the realm of thought and lifted into consciousness, I know it is fulfilled now by the presence of God. For His Spirit, all things are possible. And there's a healing going on. Feel it and sense it. Just say yes. You don't have to tell Spirit what to do. It's just saying yes to that love that is seeking to emerge, to heal the schism, the separation. It is uniting. It's not a segregating. It is uniting that Spirit into all that is within your life. There is no place where God is not, and I am grateful. In the midst of the pain, the question, the challenge, Spirit is. The isness of the divine flows freely as all of our lives. And I'm grateful to experience this at Seaside, for this community is being uplifted. It is prospering because of the individual work that all of us are doing. There is a collective uplift as we share this love and this light more and more. There is a transforming that is going on within this community known as the Seaside Center for Spiritual Living as it begins to share this light brighter for the world to see, that is contributing to a sense of peace and well-being to our nation and to this planet. There's a healing going on. Viruses dissolve, disappear, eradicate. Wholeness emerges. I'm grateful for the good that is God made manifest and relevant in real ways. And I let go to this with a thanksgiving, with an appreciation, with a gratitude, with a sense of well-being and grace, knowing that God is, good is. I let go to this, trusting and believing with an unshakable conviction in the divine right action that each of us is available to and for. I let go, allow Spirit to have its way. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was hand. But now I can say if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. Help me out. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Said no more struggle, no more strife. My faith Spirit, your Son, only here for God. Said I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Your Son, only here for God. Said no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Your Son, only here for God. Come on, Seaside, sing it from your heart. Beautiful. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. The Son, only here for God. Yeah.
Hey, and our affirmation. Oh, nice job, Marv. Got it fixed. For the week is the rich blessings of love grace my life. Together, the rich blessings of love grace my life. Touch your heart and say it again. The rich blessings of love grace my life. And one more time, like it's your truth. The rich blessings of love grace my life. And our song of grace.
I'm living in love, I'm living in peace, I'm living my life for what I believe. Through joys and through fears, in this world I walk. God's grace shines on me, and it shines on us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We're living in love, we're living in peace. United we stand as one family. We honor all truth as together we walk. God's grace moves through me and it moves through us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace.
Come on up for prayer. We're here for you. We'd love to pray with you. Come on and ask.
I'll lose my train of thought because, we have charts, we got a bunch of tunes.